When you do something as challenging as transporting humans to space and make sure that they will survive, you'll be faced with more difficulties rather than things that favor you from the start. Space technology is the most ambitious field in the history of mankind. So there are lots of complicated problems that scientists face that are still unsolved even to this date. So learners, listen carefully to what we are about to say now, because even you could be the one to find a solution for these problems. The first problem is something that is essential for our survival in this planet, that is gravity. Producing a launch vehicle that has a massive thrust that could break the field of gravity and fly outside space costs a lot. It costs nearly $200 million just to launch the Mars Curiosity rover, which is almost about a tenth of the whole mission's budget. However, a crewed spaceship would need to house all the stuff that is needed to support life too, like food, water, etc. To overcome these difficulties, composite materials that are created from combination of two or more elements are used that greatly reduce the weight of the spaceship. Combining that with more powerful fuel mixtures gives a massive thrust that could break the gravity barrier with ease and take off. Traveling through space is easy. It's vacuum after all. There is nothing to slow you down. But it is very hard to get started. The larger an object's mass, the more force it takes to move. And rockets are actually kind of massive, if you don't know. Of course, chemical propellants are great for an initial push, but all your fuel will burn up in a matter of minutes. After that, it's going to take about 5 to 7 years just to reach Jupiter itself. Then you have to travel from there to Earth. More than 15 years of your life gone just like that. That is an insane amount of time taken for this journey. Hence, propulsion needs a practical new method. Assume that you have even successfully launched your rocket or spaceship into orbit. But before you break into outer space, a rogue bit of an inactive satellite comes out from nowhere and hits right on top of your nose cone of the spaceship. That might cause serious damage to your shuttle. So, there is the serious problem of space debris. Layers of metal and Kevlar can save you from small pieces, but nothing can save you from a whole inactive satellite coming out and crashing in your face. And it is a total junkyard up there. To overcome this, scientists are working on advanced mission control algorithm that drives the shuttle by avoiding dangerous paths. Another problem is that there is no proper navigation system like GPS in space. The Deep Space Network, a collection of antenna arrays in California, Australia, and Spain, is the only navigation tool for space. Everything from student project satellites to the New Horizons probe depends on this network to maintain proper orientation. But as more and more missions take flight, the network is getting congested. The switchboard is often busy. So, in the near term, NASA is working to lighten the load. The farther rockets go from Earth, the more difficult it becomes for them to keep in touch with the signal. Sure, radio waves travel at light speed, but sending them to deep space would still take hours. For future missions, scientists are planning to design an autonomous system that would collect images of targets and nearby objects and use their relative location to triangulate a spaceship's coordinates. No ground control required. It would be like GPS but in space. There are also a lot of previously discussed problems like excessive exposure to harmful radiation that would stimulate the cancer cells in the human body. Absence of necessary resources in extraterrestrial planets like food and water. Also, you learnt in the second module about how zero gravity would prove to be a threat to human life, as your body will not cope up with the sudden environment changes it will be introduced to. Also, landing is a very challenging task when it comes to space travel. the atmospheric conditions of other planets would be hugely varying, and one has to make sure that he or she does the landing perfectly. In some planets, the atmospheric constituents are so unstable that the shuttle would simply explode on making entry into the atmosphere. There are still hundreds of things stopping us from flying into space. But do we really need to search for a new home? Can we not live in the one gifted to us right from the start? What have we done to this beautiful planet of ours? Stay tuned for another surprising module, Space, Our New Home.